Hey beauties and welcome back. Slay right here. And I took advantage of the time while I was uploading my last few videos, last two videos that I hope you guys check out because I really gave them some good encouraging words, and I started on my daytime look in the last one I posted. Now I took advantage of the time to kind of set up the next process. What I basically did was combine my MAC concealer in the color of NW30, which is good for girls that are my skin tone. For those who are darker, don't get dark palettes because your contour will not come up right. Get a palette that's around the medium, for instance, like these colors. But get a contour that's a little bit lighter than that too when you're on the darker skin tone. What I did was I basically took that concealer, put it on these areas first, and then what you could do is mix with your highlight, whatever contour you use. You can use your highlight to mix too. And I use the NYX Wonder Stick. It's a to-go stick of concealer and highlight, not concealer and highlight and contour, and this is also in the medium color. And what I did was I went over my concealer that I used from MAC, and I went over those areas with this, and you just simply just lightly just wipe around in those areas that you had your highlight, had your contour in. That's all you do. I'm just going to touch it up for you to show you how I did it. Then you take your somewhat wet sponge. Well, make sure it's still somewhat moist. And this was still moist. And literally, dab, 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 ooh, dab. Take your sponge and you just dab out the highlight. And literally, that's all you do. You just dab, dab, dab. And I found it easier to do it this way. Instead of you doing your highlight and your concealer all at the same, highlight and your contour all at the same time, do it step by step. So first, take care of your highlight. All right. Take your sponge that is supposed to be dampened and literally just dab. Make sure it goes in your hairline too, because you want to make sure it's all blended in properly. You want nothing, no lines to be seen. Now it's good on my lips, and that's perfectly fine. All right. Bring it together. Now after you do that, you're going to go and take your contour. And what you do for that is you take a contour brush or some type of brush that's going to give you those lines that you also desire to give you a proper defining look. Brush. Take your brush. And literally all you do, well, this is easier to give the perfect lines. Take the tip of the brush, as we're doing right now. Tip of the brush, get a good amount, and follow where your cheeks are, and follow the curve of your cheeks. Sometimes you have to, because it helps you find your lines and find where your cheekbone is. So you can properly define them. You just lightly go over it. Lightly and gracefully. Take it down a little bit more if you need to. It has to go all in this area, because what you're trying to find right now is your cheekbones. The same thing on the other side. Lightly. It's somewhat literally right under your highlight, basically. Then you do another little line under that. You see what I'm talking about? Now, it's okay if your lines are not even, because for this look you don't want them that deep. You really don't. Then you take it to your jawbone, because you want that defined as well, and you literally just simply just do this. Make sure everything is somehow connected. Now you do the temples of your head, because you also define your forehead and temples as well, because you want to give a good defined look to your whole face. And I'm going to keep using the word define because that's literally what contour process is used for, defining. It's okay if it gets in your hair. You can always wipe it out, wash it out. It will come out completely. Take a smaller brush to get this part right. Oh, itches. My nose itch. Take a smaller brush so you'll be able to define your nose. This shapes your nose, gives your nose a different shape, basically, but a more defined shape. And my nose is pretty small, so I don't have to always do this, but I'm showing you guys so you guys will know how to do this. And you basically follow the line of the highlight you had, just to help guide you where to draw the lines. And what I do, I take it out to here because it defines the first part of your brow bone. And again, nothing has to be perfect at this point. And now, yes, you can always see I have, little large faces right there. This is when the sponge comes in. Take your sponge. Now you take some of that highlight and you bring it down here. It helps start to even out that contour. Now this is something I have started doing. I've never seen any girl that I've even watched for myself when I was learning how to do this before, but I started doing it because it kind of starts to even out things a little bit. Alright? And now you take another brush, of course a cleaner brush that has no makeup on it. I mean, absolutely no makeup on it. Take that brush, and before you use your sponge, you just take that brush and then to darken out your contour right here. Make sure you get under your cheekbone. All right. You can take your foundation brush for this part. Take your bronzer lightly. What bronzer does, when the sunlight hits the bronzer, it makes those parts of your face glisten, which is a really good thing. It's really beautiful when you do it properly. It's literally a little bit. It's not even a whole bunch. And you basically put it kind of over the line of your contour so that when it's all blended in, it'll be a little bit of a sparkle. And then you literally just take sponge, you dab it in vigorously. You definitely don't want your lines obvious in any form or fashion. Take it under so that it won't be an obvious line of where your makeup stops. Dab everywhere. Your forehead, everywhere. Alright? It may look like a little glossy right now, but of course the finishing touches will bring the gloss down just a little bit. And you need to blot some more if you must. You can still see the contour lines, but they're not as obvious. Alright? Alright. In the next video after this, I'm going to show you the finishing touches. So, part 3, watch. Coming right up. See you there.